Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And I want to thank you so much for joining me in the live stream last night. It was so much fun. I think I overdid it, but it was so much fun, and I really enjoyed getting immediate feedback. It was just wonderful. But now the election is over, and we're disappointed. Many of us are disappointed, but there are a few takeaways from the election that now that it's over, we can make some observations. We have to always remember that we are still in the land of our captivity, and being so, we have to always remain diligent. We have to do our due diligence, but we also have to remain diligent, and we have to be realistic in our expectations. I am surprised that so many people, black people, are crying and frustrated and angry over the results of the election. So let's go over a few things. Number one, keep in mind that we are still in the land of our captivity and all that that involves. But number two, too many of us were expecting white women to do for a non-white woman what they didn't do for a white woman. Now, when Kamala jumped into the race, I said, Donald Trump can beat a woman. It's going to take an old white man or a white man or even maybe a black man to defeat Donald Trump. But I was always skeptical about a woman beating Donald Trump because this is a patriarchal society. Now, black people may not think so, but white people see white men as the patriarch of the white society. So it's very difficult for them to go against white men. Coming out of slavery, black men were given the right to vote before white women. And white women were furious about it. And they went on a tear after black men were given the right to vote, saying that you're bringing these lowly people up and calling them all kinds of names because the Constitution gave the men the right to vote. So that's still embedded in American society. This is the Georgia exit poll by sex and race. 24% of white men voted for Kamala. 31% of white women voted for Kamala. 81% of black men voted for Kamala. 90% of black women voted for Kamala. 53% of Latino men voted for Kamala. 59% of Latino women voted for Kamala. And all other races, 42% of them voted for Kamala. So that's just in Georgia. And that's pretty much what happened. She was expecting white women to support her in larger numbers than they did because of her stand on abortion. White women were the largest demographic voting in Georgia, and only 31% of them voted for Kamala. Not even half of them voted for Kamala. So there's the problem. Black men didn't totally abandon Kamala. 81% is pretty good. Black women, 90%, excellent. Now listen to this from the Pew Research Center. The Pew Research Center survey replicated the Census Bureau's format, asking about race separately from Hispanic ethnicity. Asked about their race in this way, more than half of Hispanics in the survey identified their race as white. 58% of Hispanics identified as white, with the next largest share selecting the some other race category, which was 27%. 8% selected two or more races, and 2% selecting black or African American. Foreign Hispanics were more likely than their U.S.-born counterparts to select the some other race category, while U.S.-born Hispanics were more likely than foreign-born Hispanics to select multiple races. For both groups, though, more than half say their race is white. So there you have it. they identify with white people. And when Trump is talking about the Puerto Ricans or whomever he's talking about, the other ones don't take offense to it because they don't feel like he's talking about them. They each see themselves as connected to their own group. And that group is more likely identifying with white people, with the white of white America. So it's a mistake for black people to think that we have anything in common with these people. And when you talk to them, they will tell you that. So sometimes certain black people make assumptions about what we say racism or prejudice or discrimination. Donald Trump would get up there and say the vilest things about those people because he knows he can get away with it. So I don't know how they process information. I don't know how they see things. A lot of them don't even speak English, so they may not even know what he's saying for all I know. But I know one thing, they're going to be a part of the ones that he deports out of here if he deports anybody. And another thing about the Hispanic Latinos is that they don't sympathize with the illegals. They don't sympathize with anybody who came up in this country illegally. They never have. I remember in my Zumba class, our Zumba teacher was from Colombia, and the discussion came up about the illegals in the United States, and she was adamantly against it. She said, I came here the right way, and they should come here the right way if they want to come. So they come over here and get on their little square with the white people, and they don't feel any sympathy for anybody, not black people, not indigenous people, not Hispanics, not Palestinians. They don't feel bad about anybody. Now, that's my experience. And as far as the Asians, apparently only 42% of Asians voted for Kamala. So after getting the crime bill and other things that they've thrown at the Asians' way, they still did not feel any kind of loyalty to the Democratic Party. So it may be the case that black people need to take a page out of these other groups of people's books. Stop placing so much emphasis on an election and place your emphasis on your own community and what you want the outcomes of your own community to be. I think that that's smarter than hitching your wagon to these politicians who have said, really, Kamala said, she wasn't going to do anything just for black people. But according to many black people, they did something just for the Asians. They did, Joe Biden just signed some kind of executive order for the Hispanics to help them with their businesses, which really is not going to go anywhere now because I doubt that Donald Trump is going to sign on to any executive order that's going to help the Hispanic people. And as we already know, an executive order is not binding legislation. All Donald Trump has to do is nothing. Just let it go dead on the desk. And finally, white people. There are some takeaways even from white people. Number one, a lot of white people, especially those white people in Pennsylvania, were upset about the way the situation with Joe Biden was handled. Joe Biden is from Pennsylvania. Everybody said he was losing it, and it certainly looked like that was what was happening. But his family did not want him to resign, and he didn't want to resign. So here he is wearing a Trump hat. I don't know if this is AI or not, but that's what he's got on his head. He did have this hat on his head going on the plane one day. As a joke, it appeared. And then here is Jill Biden going to vote in a red suit, which is sending another message. So it's entirely possible that they got the word out to certain people in some of those counties. Don't vote for her. Don't vote for Kamala. And they didn't have to do a whole lot of convincing because let's face it, it was hard enough trying to get a white woman elected to the presidency in the United States, and that failed. So who thought it was going to be better for a non-white woman? And that was my concern from the beginning. And then we have to accept the fact that immigration is a real problem in America, especially in these big cities, and Kamala never said a word about immigration. So there were some reasons why she lost. I still think the biggest reasons were sexism and racism, but this is America, and this is how things are done in America. And I will end it by saying, as I said last night, we will be all right. We just got to focus on our own community and our own goals and objectives and just stay focused for this time and use it as a time to learn, to grow, and to develop. And we will be all right. Okay, thank you for listening, y'all. And I don't know when I'll do another live stream, but I'll try to get my technology up before I do, but I really did enjoy it. All right, y'all. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and have a good evening.